Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamaya Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Paramananda Madhavam. Okay, let us read verse number 18. Karmanya karmaya pashyet akarmani cha karmayaha sabuddhiman manushyeshu sayuktah kritsna karma krita. So we are in chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita. And chapter 4 is Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. In chapter 3, Sri Krishna elaborated on what Karma Yoga is and how to dedicate all one's actions to the Lord or something higher and why that should be done. But here in chapter 4, Sri Krishna takes a deeper look at what really karma is and what akarma is. He says that karma and akarma and even vikarma, they are very, very deep. And so he tries to explain to Arjuna, what does it really mean to do action or to perform action? And what does it mean not to perform action? Because we have the notion that when we perform action, that's called karma. When we are engaged in doing something, that's called karma. And when we don't do anything, it's called akarma, inaction. And in our lives, we are scared of these two things. When there is nothing to do, we are scared. Oh, what will I do now? There's nothing for me to do. Everybody has grown up. Everybody has moved away. Now what will I sit and do? So when there's nothing to do, we become afraid or scared. But also when there's a lot to do, we also become scared. Oh, there's so much going on now. How will I do it? And so in life, we find this struggle. When if there is to do, we have issues. If there is not to do, we have issues. So Sri Krishna says, see, the problem is not performing action or not performing action, Arjuna. The problem is this doership. So he says the one who recognizes that the main issue is this doership, that person is a buddhiman. That person is a knower of truth. So in verse 18, what we saw was karmani akarma yavpashyet. Karmani means in action, akarma, in action amidst action. In action amidst action, akarmani cha karmayaha, and then action amidst inaction. The one who sees that is a buddhiman, is wise among all, and they are yukta, they are a yogi and performer of all actions. So what are the two things it takes to be a knower of truth in this context? One is, amidst all of the action, can we recognize the actionless self? Can we recognize that actionless Atma, that self, which illumines all actions, illumines the speaking, the hearing, the touching, the tasting, the thinking, illumines the listening? Amidst all of these actions, can we recognize Atma? And if we can recognize that we are actually the actionless self amidst all of action, then that is step one. So no matter how hectic things get, how crazy the world moves, we are ever at rest because we are that actionless self. And point number two, amidst inaction, even when the body is seemingly still and the mind is seemingly still, and we are not engaging, not doing, not eating, not talking, can we recognize that even in this inaction, the ego still is there, saying, oh, I am not talking, I am not doing, I'm not eating. Can we recognize that even if we appear to be still, the ego is still acting out? So that doesn't really make stillness. Stillness doesn't mean not performing activity. Stillness means recognizing that I'm the actionless self. So whether we are performing activity or not performing activity, it doesn't matter. What matters is that we relinquish or get rid of the notion of doership. So some people feel that jnanis, or the knower of truth, should only sit silently, be quiet. Why are they doing so much? They're doing so much because they know they're the actionless self. If the jnani is not doing anything, there's also complaints. Oh, why aren't they doing anything? Why are they just sitting there? They know they are the actionless self. So this is the truth of the matter. This is where we have to work. We have to work on that notion of doership. Not that I am doing or not doing, but everything is being done or not done in my presence. And everything is just flowing. It's just happening. It's just going on. Puja Gurudev would say, yesterday, Pune was in front of me. Tomorrow, Mumbai will be in front of me. Not that he traveled, but everything would just come in front of him. This was his way of saying he is ever still. So this is the crux of verse 18. And the one who realizes this is a buddhiman, meaning knower of self, a yogi, and kritsna karmakrit, the one who has done all karmas. Because all karmas are done or performed to realize that we are the actionless self. All karmas are just to get to that point. So start getting rid of this notion of doership. And the person who is able to get rid of this actually exhibits a lot of freedom in life. Exhibits freedom, carefreeness, calmness, equanimity in life. In what way? So now we are going to see in what way. Verses 19 to 23 now, they speak about this jnani who has this practice of seeing the actionless self amidst all action. So let us see what this jnani's life is like and how much we can also strive to be like this. Let us read now verse 19. Yasya sarve samarambhaha
Yasya sarve samarambhaha
kama sankalpa
kama sankalpa varjitaha
Jnanagnidagdhakarmanam
Jnanagnidagghakarmanam
tamahuh panditam buddhaha
Tamahu panditam buddhaha
yasya sarve samarambhaha kavasankalpa varjitaha jnanagnidagdhakarmanam tamahuh panditam buddhaha. So what does this verse say? Buddhaha. Buddhaha means the wise people. The wise people do what? Ahuhu. The wise people call this person. This person, Panditam. They call this person a sage. Tam Panditam. Who is this Panditam? Jnanagni Dagdha Karmanam. Whose karmas, whose actions have been dagdha, burnt by the Agni, the fire of jnana, of knowledge. So this is a compound word we have to read from the back. This is a sage. Why? Because, of this person, sarve, all of their samarambhaha, all of their undertakings, kama sankalpa varjitaha, they are without sankalpa. Sankalpa means the idea of joy, and kama, desires. So, whose undertakings are devoid of desires and purposes, and whose actions have been burnt by the fire of knowledge, him the wise call a sage. So, what does this mean? So, verses 19 and 20 will speak about jnani who engages in this world, who acts in this world. Samarambha, undertakings, whatever actions that they do. So arambha means whatever has started already. It's because their life is a certain way. Their prarabdha karma is a certain way. And so they are engaged in the world. Either they are engaged for the welfare of others, or they are engaged of taking care of whatever needs or whatever things have been started. So in whichever way they are engaging in life, their engagement is without sankalpa and kama. So first, let's see what this sankalpa is. Sankalpa means samyak kalpana. Kalpana means imagination. Samyak, well or good imagination. This is a sankalpa. When we imagine joy to be in an object. So, for example, we see somebody who has a lot of money. And so we imagine that having a lot of money must bring a lot of comfort. This thought comes into us. It must be nice to have a lot of money. So our sankalpa enters our mind. Sankalpa enters our mind that it would be really nice to have money. Or let us say we went to visit somebody and they had a very nice big house. Very nice big house. So we saw the house, then a sankalpa enters. It would be nice to also have a nice big house. That way I can also be happy. People will also come to my house. I'll be able to entertain and people will look up to me. So this sankalpa means we're imagining that something can give us joy. We're imagining something can give us joy. So what happens after that? Kama, we desire it. Because that big house, I feel it will bring me so much joy. So many people will talk about me. They'll come to my house and I can entertain everybody. Therefore, I want a big house. If I have so much money, I can go travel the world. I can go to all of these places. It'll be so nice. I'll have such a grand time. Therefore, I want a lot of money. So all of our desires start from this notion that that object, that person can give me joy, will make me happy, will make me feel pleasant. And therefore, I want it. Hmm? And this is actually how advertising works. No, you know, they have that AIDA, right? Attention. First, they want to grab our attention. Then they initiate our interest. They make us think that by eating Lay's potato chips, we will be happy. And by drinking Coke with ice, and then they make all of those sounds, we will be very, very happy. Then a desire rises in our mind, and then we act. So they must have also studied the Bhagavad Gita because it's very, very crisp and it matches exactly what Sri Krishna is saying. So Sri Krishna says, ordinarily people have this. Why? Again, because of ignorance. It's avidya, ignorance, sankalpa, superimposition of joy, then kama, desire, then action, karma. So because we are ignorant, we don't understand that we are the abode of joy already, we superimpose joy on the world outside, on the people outside. And then we want them. But this jnani, this knower of the self, doesn't have such a thing. Because they understand that they are already that source of fulfillment. What can make them happy? They are already there. They are ever reveling in that bliss. And so, because their undertakings are without desire, they're not doing it because they want something. Their undertakings are not out of sankalpa. They're not doing it because they're superimposing joy somewhere. They think they're going to get joy from something. They're just doing it because it's their nature. It's their natural expression. You know, there is this kind of philosophy that we always have to leave a little discontent in people, because otherwise, how will they work? They must be motivated to do something, so they should always have some discontent. Because if we are content, who will work? This is the thinking of people. But actually, in the Bhagavad Gita, it says that the most content people are the greatest workers. They're the greatest workers because there's no selfishness in what they do. And there's no ulterior motive. They're not doing something to get something from somebody. They're just giving. It's their natural expression. So it's about working from that space of contentment rather than running and chasing out of discontent. And so when they work, it's very different. It's very different because they seem to have more enthusiasm, more energy. They seem to be able to take up so much more than we are able to do. And we will see, it will come up in the next verses. They work with such an attitude that we can't even understand how they do it. And the best part is all of their actions are dagha. They are burnt. All of their karmas are burnt by the fire of knowledge. Adi Shankaracharya says, Jnana eva agni. Knowledge itself is the fire. The fire of knowledge that knows I am not the doer. Because I am not the doer, then I am not the experiencer. Whatever comes cannot touch me. There's no punya or papa. There's no merit or demerit. So when an enlightened being acts, first of all, the action is not going to form a vasana or deep impression for them because they have no interest in things. Vasana only comes when we repeatedly do something because we have this deep interest in it. So there's no vasana generated. There's no punya or papa. There's no merit or demerit that can come to them because there is no doership. There is no doership, so there's no enjoyership. There's no experiencership. So all of their actions are burnt. They are burnt. And the example our Shastras give is like Barjita Bija, you know, the roasted seeds, the roasted nuts or seeds. So when you have regular seeds, what happens? With regular seeds, they sprout and they become a tree, and they have leaves and fruits, etc. And they keep growing and growing and growing. But with the roasted seeds, they cannot sprout anymore. So all of the actions of the enlightened being, they cannot sprout a new birth anymore. They cannot sprout all of these merits or demerits anymore. They're already roasted. They're roasted. So even if it seems like they're acting in the world, all their actions are like roasted seeds. That is how they act in the world. Jnana agni dagdha karma. Now, just to give you a contrast here, okay? How does an ajnani act? Somebody who, I'm reading now from the Shubhani, somebody who does not know the truth. So let's say we don't know the truth. How does the ajnani, the ignorant one's actions form, or what happens to them? So I'll read this verse and then I'll explain. Adi Shankaracharya ji explains this beautiful tree of samsara so well that after it, hopefully we will be like, oh, we should just learn the truth, know the truth, and get out as soon as we can. Bijam samsriti bhumijasya tu tamaha dehatmadhirankuraha ragah pallava bambu karma tu vapuhu skandho savashakikaha Agranindriya samhatischa vishayaha pushpani dukkham phalam nana karma samudbhavam bahuvidham bhoktatra jivah khagaha. So what does he say? This verse is entitled Bondage in Action. This is Ajnani. Bijam samsriti bhumijasya tu tamaha. Tamaha. Ignorance is the bija. Ignorance is the seed of this tree of samsara. So the tree of samsara, the seed is ignorance. Dehatmadhir ankuraha. The sprout is the notion that I am this body. So I am this body, I am this mind, I am this doer, I am this ego. Sprout. Raga pallavam. The tender leaves that come, they are the desire. Desire. Ambu karma. The water that keeps the tree going is karma. Vapuhu skandaha. And because of all the action that we keep doing, we get a body. Skandaha. The trunk of the tree is a body. Asava shakika. The pranas are like the branches. You know, pranas, they branch out in different directions, right? Prana goes up, apana goes down, etc. Vyana circulates everywhere. So they go in different directions. The branches, they're like prana. Agranindriya. Then there's these little twigs. They are our sense organs. Vishayaha pushpani. The flowers are the sense objects. And what is the fruit? Dukkham phalam. The fruit is sorrow. He doesn't say joy and sorrow. He says sorrow. The fruit is only sorrow. And it has different types of fruits because there are different karmas that we perform. Nana karma samudbhavam bahuvidha. And who is enjoying in this tree or experiencing this tree? Bhoktatra jiva khagaha. The bird is a jiva. So the bird is perched on this tree of karma. It's perched on this tree of karma because we keep doing with doership and we keep wanting those results. We get those fruits and again we perform karma. So when the body kind of, it disintegrates, when the tree disintegrates, what does that jiva do? That bird flies into another tree. And again, the whole thing happens. So for Ajnani, this is what happens. Life after life, we fly into different bodies, experiencing this whole tree of samsara. But for the jnani, that seed has no sprout. It has no more sprout. It is roasted. So this whole tree of samsara cannot happen. So that's what Jnana Agni Dagdha Karmanam means. And this person is called Panditam. Panditam means Brahmavit, the knower of the truth. And this is how they live their lives. So even in the seeming activity, they are ever abiding in that actionless self. Now, a little bit more about what does that look like? Can you tell us a little bit more? So let us see now verse number 20. Okay. Yeah, questions we will take later. Or if it's an immediate one, you can type on chat. Yeah. Okay. Tyaktva karma phala sangam.
Tyaktva karma phala sangam.
Nityatripto nirashrayah.
Nityatripto nirashrayah.
Karmanya vipravrittopi.
Karmanyabhipravrittopi.
Naiva kinchit karoti saha.
Naiva kinchit karoti saha.
Tyaktva karma phala sangam. Nityatripto nirashrayah. Karmanya vipravrittopi. Naiva kinchit karoti saha. So, tyaktva, this jnani, having left, having given up, karma phala sangam, asanga. Asanga, attachment to karma phala, the fruits of action. Nitya triptaha, the one who's ever content. Nirashraya, dependent on nothing. Karmani abhipravrittaha api. Karmani, in actions, abhipravrittaha, even if one is engaged in actions, naiva kinchit karoti, they do not do anything. He, she doesn't do anything. Not even a wee bit. Naiva kinchit karoti saha. Having abandoned attachment to the fruits of action, ever content, depending on nothing, does not do anything though engaged in actions. So now who is this person? Who is this jnani? Karmani, in actions, abhipravrittaha. Abhipravrittaha means engaging in actions so incredibly well. So well. As I mentioned, they have this drive, this enthusiasm, and this enthusiasm is not out of their inner selfishness, but it is out of their natural expression. And they build institutions, they build schools, they teach, they work, they travel, they write. It's as though they just keep going. And we don't know how. Abhipravritta, they keep doing and keep doing. And we wonder how at such a short span they're able to do so much in their lives. How is it? No, we can't even imagine. Somebody like Adi Shankaracharya ji lived only 32 years. How is it that, how did he do all of that? Someone like Swami Vivekananda ji also lived maybe almost 40 years. How did, in such a short span? Or even if they, a longer span, like Puja Gurudev, how did he reach to so many people? We cannot grasp that. Karmani abhipravritta, even if they were deeply engaged in action, they were free from attachment to the result of action. What does this mean? This means that Obviously, when we act, we're going to do it for something. Nobody acts, just like that. We're going to do it for something. But this attachment to results of action means we insist on a certain result. We insist that it should be this way, or this should come to me, or this should come at this time, and this should happen like this. We form these ideas and concepts in our mind of how we want things to be, instead of just an acceptance of how things will be. And we want to insist that things will be a certain way because they'll make us happy. So if I get the result in this way, I will be happy. If this person says this to me, I will be happy. And so that is why we insist on these results of actions. But jnani is nitya triptaha. Nitya triptaha means that they are ever content. Now, what can we really do for them? What can we really give them? They're ever content. So the results will come. Yes, they also act because knowing that something will happen, but they don't insist that it should happen like this. And if it doesn't happen like this, I'm going to be so upset, or I'm not going to like it, or this is going to happen, or that's going to happen. There's no insistence. And not only that, what happens in our case is we have a fear of success or failure. We hope that this will come also nirashi. We hope that it's going to be success. We hope that we don't fail. So we want that success all the time. But in the Bhagavad Gita, it teaches us not to desire success all the time because we are bound to fail at some point, right? Even the person who wins the Olympic medal, he or she can only hold this gold medal for a few years. After that, they will also drop. We can hold the top position only for so long. After that, we will drop. So life is full of success and failures. So Bhagavad Gita says we don't have to succeed all the time. That's not true success. True success is actually being able to accept. Sometimes there will be up, sometimes there will be down, and it's okay. It's okay. Because from the ultimate standpoint, we are not the doer. Right? It's okay. It'll go up, it'll go down. It's okay. There's no fear. But sometimes in our case, there's a fear that, will this go well? Will that not go well? And so there's this attachment that it should become a success. A very nice example, that our Swamis give is like children, right? If you ever seen young children, the sense of doership is not so evolved yet, especially the very young ones. And so they'll get up on stage and they'll say something, and sometimes they'll forget, and sometimes they'll make a face, and sometimes they'll say, and they'll totally be okay with it. They'll totally just be okay with it. And whatever they do, you notice it looks cute. If they forget, it looks cute. If they remember, it looks cute. If they keep quiet, it looks cute. But they just go out there, some of them, and they just there. And they're just there so free, but the parents are so tensed. What is my kid doing on stage? Why are they acting this way? Why are they going like this? The parents are so tensed, but the kid is so free. The child is so incredibly free because that sense of doership hasn't come yet. And so jnani is like that. Yes, there's going to be mistakes. Sometimes we'll remember, sometimes we'll forget, sometimes we'll be up, sometimes we'll be down. The nature of the body, mind, intellect is that. Why should we be afraid? That's just prakriti. That's the way it is. So having dropped or given up this attachment to the results of action, insistence of it, fear of it, because nitya triptaha, one is ever content, reveling in the self, and nirashraya. Nirashraya means not depending on anybody or anyone for their happiness. normally when we have relationships, there's this expectation, that call me at least once in a while, check on me at least once in a while, let me know this, let me know that, make sure you get this for me. There's this kind of expectation that forms between people in any relationship. But for jnani, there's no such expectation from people because they don't need to feel needed, or they don't need to feel wanted. They don't need all of that. If anything, they're very happy when people leave them alone, actually, right? Nirashraya, they don't need to feel needed. They don't need to feel wanted. They don't need attention. They're, on the contrary, very happy without all of that stuff. And so, and even if they're in the midst of all this action, nakinchit karma, they don't do anything. They don't do anything. Because there is no doership. It's just flowing. And when they flow in that also, they just get lost in it. Lost in it, meaning in a good way. I remember reading one of Swami Vivekanandaji's quotes, and he said, I'm too busy to pay attention to what people are saying about me. What a lovely thing, right? Abhipravritta, he's so engaged in the world that it doesn't matter what people say or don't say, because he doesn't even have the time to think about that. He just lets the actions flow through him. Abhipravritta, nakinchit karoti. They don't do anything at all. So even amidst action, they're in action. In inaction. So these are verses 19 and 20. Now, the question will come, what about somebody, there's different types of jnanis also. Not all jnanis, jnanis means people who are knowers of truth. Not all jnanis will say, I want to be in action, or I am in action in the midst of work, etc. Some of them want to be quiet. Some of them just want to be by themselves. So what would you say for them? So here now in verses 21 and 22, Sri Krishna talks about the withdrawn type of jnani. How is it that they also are rooted in the inaction, in actionless self amidst action? So let us read that. Nirashiryata chittatma.
Nirashiryata chittatma.
Tyakta sarva parigraha.
Tyakta sarva parigraha.
Shariram kevalam karma.
Shariram kevalam karma.
Kurvannapnoti kilvisham.
Kurvannapnoti kilbisham.
Nirashiryata chittatma. Tyakta sarva parigraha. Shariram kevalam karma. Kurvannapnoti kilvisham. So here, this is now the withdrawn type of jnani. How are they? Nirashihi. Nirashihi, without hope, without expectation, desire. Yata chittatma, one with the mind and body, sense organs controlled. Tyakta sarva parigraha, having abandoned sense possessions. Parigraha means wanting to grab things. Sarva, wanting to grab things. Tyakta, having abandoned that. Shariram kevalam karma. Shariram here means bodily, kevalam, only bodily action, karma. Kurvan, doing it, na apnoti kilbisham. They do not incur sin. Without hope, with the mind and self-controlled, having abandoned all sense of possessions, doing merely bodily action, incurs no sin. So now, even don't think that, as I said, even if one is not standing, not moving, they're still acting, right? So even jnani, this knower of truth who is enlightened, even if they're living very, very simple lives, they're still acting. They're still acting. But the idea is, even in this, there is no doership. So what is their life like? Nirashihi, without hope, without desire. Again, there is no such thing in their mind that they want this to make them happy, to make them feel complete. Of course, these bodily desires, hunger and thirst, these maintenance kinds of desires will be there, but not that I'm hungry and I want this pasta and this pizza, not that kind of thing. Just that hunger will come, thirst will come, sleep will come. And yes, you can say those are desires. So those desires will be there, but not these desires to be complete or happy. Those desires won't come. So in that way, nirashihi. Yata chittatma means yata, somebody who has controlled or disciplined chitta, the mind. And atma here means the sense organs, the body and the sense organs. So somebody who's really learned how to master their body and sense organs. They're not going here and going there and doing whatever they want. They're very, very much restrained. And they're not also accumulating so many things. So this is a very simple monk, simple sannyasi. When we accumulate one thing, so many things come with it. We can never get one, right? That's why when we go out, buy one, get one. We can never get one thing. Have you ever gone to the grocery and bought only one thing? It's impossible. We don't do that kind of thing, right? And when we buy a phone, what happens? Accessories for the phone. We need the phone, and then we need the cover for the phone, and then we need the holder for the phone. And now there's all these kinds of things so you can take pictures. So it's very hard to buy one thing. In Amazon also, if you want to buy one thing, they'll say, somebody who bought this also bought this, this, and this, and this. So please think about it, right? So we have what we call parigraha. When we buy one thing, there's so many things we buy, and we also collect and we store. And that's why we have storage space. What is in storage space? All this stuff that we also forgot about. We don't also know what's in our storage. Nobody knows what's in their storage, but it's there and they pay for it, but we don't know. So that is called parigraha. Or that in the houses, that garage that is meant for the car, there is no space for the car because there's all kinds of things. It's called parigraha. But for this person, tyakta sarva parigraha means lets these possessions go and lives a very, very simple life. Very simple life. So somebody who's not desiring or hoping, expecting anything, someone who's quite restrained their mind and their senses, and very, very few possessions, lives such a simple life. What do? Shariram kevalam karma. Just the maintenance of the body. What is the maintenance of the body? Bhiksha. Bhiksha means to beg for food. Atanam, to walk, to roam, to exercise, to sleep, to take a bath. Only these kinds of things they do or they engage in because they're very introverted and they prefer to be quiet, sit quietly. So only these things they engage in. But kurvan apnoti. Kurvan na apnoti. Kurvan means even if they do, they appear to be doing, they appear to be the doer. Na apnoti kilvisham. they don't get any sin or stain from it, because they understand that they're the non-doer and things are just flowing. Things are just happening. It's all like a dream for them. It's just flowing. It's just happening. There's so much in that self that this whole world seems quite hazy for them at this point. So kurvan na apnoti kilvisham. Even doing, they don't incur any sin or stain because there's no doership. Now the question comes, but what is their attitude? When they live like this, very, very simple lives, what is their attitude towards the world? How do they interact with the world? So now we will see this verse, very, very nice. This is how a very simple being interacts with the world to maintain the body. Let us read verse number 22. Yadrichhalabhasantushtaha
Yadrikshalabhasantushtaha
Dvandvatito vimatsaraha
Dvandvatito vimatsaraha
Samasiddhavasiddhau cha
Samasiddhavasiddhau cha
Kritvapi na nibhadyate
Kritvapi na nibadhyate
Yadrichhalabhasantushtaha Dvandvatito vimatsaraha Samasiddhavasiddhau cha Kritvapi na nibhadyate. So here, what it says is, Kritvapi na nibhadyate. Even acting in this world, na nibhadyate. This being is not bound. How is this person? Yadrichhalabhasantushtaha. Content with what comes to him without effort. Dvandva atitaha. Free from the pairs of opposites. Vimatsaraha. Free from envy. Samaha. Even-minded. Siddhau in success. Asiddhau in failure. Kritva api, even acting, nanibadhyate. This being is not bound. Content with what comes to him without effort, free from the pairs of opposites and envy, even-minded in success and failure, though acting, he's not bound. So this word is so incredibly beautiful. Yadrichhalabhasantushtaha. So let's look at that word first. Tushtaha means content. Santushtaha means very content. Content, very content with what? Labha, what is gained. How? Yadricha, whatever comes to them, they are completely okay with it. Without seeking something of a certain type, whatever comes to them, they accept. So they are called Mr. and Mrs. No problem. No coffee this morning? No problem. It's okay. There's coffee, but there's no milk? No problem. It's okay. And you're going to have to walk. There's no transportation. 10 blocks. It's okay. No food today. It's okay. Right? So all of these things, whatever happens, it's okay. Yadrichhalabhasantushtaha. Whatever comes, let it come, because this person has faith that whatever is part of my prarabdha will come. Joy will come when it has to come. Sorrow will come also when it has to come. Do you ever chase sorrow? No, but sorrow comes to your house, to your room. So why should you chase joy? Joy will also come to your house and to your room. No need to chase anything. No need to chase anybody. Yadricha labha santushta. If it comes, okay. If it doesn't come, okay. They are ever content. Dvandvatita. Dvandvatita means they're beyond despairs of opposites. Opposites will always come. There will be heat and cold, day and night. The world is all of these pairs of opposites. There will be success and failure. We will see joy and sorrow. All of these pairs of opposites will come. Dvandvatita means to go beyond them and just let them pass. How do we let these pass? Because number one, they are temporary, right? When joy comes, sorrow will come. Sorrow comes, joy will come. Cold comes, heat will come. Heat comes, cold will come. So all of these, it will keep coming. Life, all of these waves of dualities, they keep coming. They won't stop. So this person has this, what we call titiksha, this very important quality of a seeker, titiksha, the ability to endure, to forbear the pairs of opposites of life cheerfully. And when it's something that seems unbearable, to take it as a sadhana. Okay, there's too much cold. Okay, let me use this as an opportunity to build resistance. It's too noisy. Okay, let me use this as an opportunity to practice concentration. Right? So whatever the dvandvas are, they understand that it's all temporary. It's all part of life. And also, they use it for their sadhana. There's no food today. Okay, let me use it as a fast. Go beyond that. And vimatsaraha. Vimatsaraha is an interesting word. So in the commentary, Adi Shankaracharya ji says, nirvairaha. One meaning is no enmity. No enmity with anybody, because everybody is you only, right? Everybody is you. You are everybody. There's no difference. This reminds me of one story. I might have told you this before, but this is very deep in how they think, these jnanis. There was this one monk, and he went for a walk. He went for a walk in the forest, and every day he used to go walk. So no problem. He used to go walk, and he used to come back, before evening time. Before it gets dark, he used to come back. So everybody in the monastery knew this was his habit. He would go for a walk. He would come back evening time. Everyone knew, so they never questioned him too much. One time, he went to the forest and he didn't come back. It was getting very, very late. He didn't come back. So what happened was the brother monks went out to the forest to try to look for him. And they found him on the ground, and he was beaten up, black and blue. He was beaten up, and he was laying there. And so quickly they carried him. They brought him to the monastery. They made him lie down. They put a blanket over him. He was shivering a little bit. They cleaned him. They sponged him, and they gave him water. And they gave him something to eat, because they said he must not have, eaten dinner or anything. And so when he was kind of getting his life back, his consciousness back, they asked him, who did this to you? One monk asked, who did this to you? And this monk looked at him and said, the one who is feeding me now. The one who is feeding me now. Now just see the awareness of this monk. Who beat you up black and blue and left you in the forest? The one who is feeding me is the one who beat me up. He sees that one reality in all beings, even in that state. Nirvaira. This is what you call a person of knowledge. This is very hard to do. For us, we will say, this person, you know who he was, this and this, get his address and let's go beat him up. And all of these things will come to our mind. But this jnani has that awareness. So vimatsara, nirvaira, no enmity. The second meaning is also no jealousy. More of this we will take up next week. We will finish this rest of this verse next week, and we will start the next few verses also. Okay? I have a few minutes. I won't be able to complete that one. We'll say the closing prayer, and then I will, I will make a few announcements, and then there's some questions also here. So I will go through that. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Okay, please stay back for 2 announcements.